What if miracles and science weren't opposites, but partners in the same dance? In ancient Jericho, bitter waters became sweet, the barren became fertile, and death transformed into life. Today, we'll explore how divine intervention and natural phenomena might intertwine in ways that challenge everything we think we know about the impossible. In the shadow of Jericho's fallen walls, a new crisis emerged that threatened the very survival of the city's inhabitants. The waters that should have sustained life had become harbingers of death. Archaeological evidence reveals that Jericho's water sources were contaminated with high concentrations of minerals and salts, creating a toxic cocktail that poisoned crops, caused miscarriages, and left the land barren. The Hebrew text describes these waters as bad and causing death, terminology that modern hydrogeologists recognize as indicators of severe contamination. The geological foundation of Jericho sits atop complex mineral deposits, including gypsum, halite, and various sulfate compounds that naturally leach into groundwater. Ancient civilizations understood water quality through direct observation. When livestock died, crops failed, and human health deteriorated, they knew their water source had become cursed. This wasn't mere superstition. It was practical environmental science born from necessity. The people of Jericho found themselves in an impossible situation. They had conquered the city, but the very resource essential for establishing their new home was killing them slowly. The irony was profound. They had inherited a land flowing with milk and honey, yet the water itself had become their greatest enemy. This crisis would require more than human ingenuity. It demanded intervention that transcended the natural order, or perhaps revealed hidden aspects of it that remain mysterious to ancient minds. The stage was set for an event that would blur the lines between divine miracle and natural phenomenon, challenging our modern understanding of what's truly possible when faith meets the hidden laws of nature. Enter Elisha, the prophet who would transform crisis into miracle through an action so simple it seemed almost insulting to the magnitude of the problem. His solution defied conventional wisdom: cast salt into the poisoned waters. To the desperate inhabitants of Jericho, this must have seemed counterintuitive. Adding salt to already mineral-laden water should theoretically worsen the contamination, not cure it. But Elisha's method reveals something fascinating about ancient wisdom and its relationship to natural processes we're only beginning to understand today. The prophet took a new bowl, significantly one that had never been used, filled it with salt, and cast it into the spring at its source. This wasn't random seasoning. It was precise environmental intervention guided by divine instruction that may have triggered complex chemical reactions. Modern water treatment specialists recognize that certain salt applications can indeed purify contaminated water through precipitation, ion exchange, and bacterial inhibition. When specific salts interact with mineral-heavy water, they can neutralize toxic compounds, clarify turbidity, and create conditions hostile to harmful microorganisms. The timing, quantity, and type of salt application become critical factors in determining success or failure. The ritual aspect cannot be ignored either. The new bowl represents purity and intentionality, while the declaration, "Thus says the Lord, I have healed these waters," establishes divine authority over natural processes. This wasn't mere chemistry. It was chemistry ordained and directed by divine wisdom that understood the hidden relationships between substances at a level that transcended ancient scientific understanding. The immediate transformation was dramatic. Waters that had brought death suddenly became sources of life, suggesting that the intervention addressed not just surface contamination but fundamental chemical imbalances at their molecular level. To understand how salt could purify Jericho's toxic waters, we must dive deep into the complex chemistry of mineral-laden groundwater systems. The Dead Sea region, where Jericho is located, contains unique geological formations that create natural, laboratories for chemical reactions that seem almost magical in their transformative power. When contaminated water contains high levels of dissolved sulfates, nitrates, and organic compounds, the introduction of specific salts can trigger cascade reactions that fundamentally alter the water's composition. Sodium chloride, when introduced to sulfate-rich water, can precipitate gypsum and other harmful minerals out of solution, literally pulling toxins from the water and causing them to settle as harmless sediments. Additionally, salt applications can alter pH levels, creating environments where harmful bacteria cannot survive while beneficial microorganisms thrive. This biological aspect of water purification was unknown to ancient peoples, yet the results were undeniably effective. The salt may have introduced trace minerals that catalyze biological processes, transforming stagnant, toxic water into a living ecosystem capable of supporting life. The permanence of the healing described in the biblical account suggests that the intervention created stable, self-sustaining chemical and biological conditions. This points to a sophisticated understanding of environmental chemistry that goes beyond temporary fixes to establish lasting ecological balance. Modern water treatment facilities spend millions trying to achieve what Elisha accomplished with a bowl of salt and divine guidance. The miracle wasn't just in the immediate purification. It was in the creation of a sustainable system that would continue producing clean water for generations. This level of environmental engineering suggests divine intervention working through natural laws in ways that demonstrate perfect understanding of chemical, biological, and geological processes. The purification of Jericho's waters created cascading effects that transformed not just the immediate environment but the entire ecological and social fabric of the region. When water becomes life-giving instead of death-dealing, every aspect of civilization changes, and the changes that followed reveal the comprehensive nature of true environmental restoration. Agricultural transformation came first and most dramatically. Fields that had been barren for years suddenly burst with productivity as crops could finally access clean water without absorbing toxic minerals. The soil itself began to heal as harmful salt concentrations decreased and beneficial microbial communities re-established themselves. Archaeological evidence suggests that Jericho's agricultural output increased exponentially in the years following the water purification, supporting larger populations and greater prosperity. Human health improvements were equally remarkable. Miscarriage rates dropped, infant mortality decreased, and general health indicators improved across the population. Clean water meant the end of waterborne diseases, improved nutrition from healthier crops, and the psychological benefits of knowing their most basic need was finally secure. The community could shift from survival mode to growth mode, planning for the future instead of merely enduring the present. Wildlife returned to the region as well. Birds, mammals, and insects that had avoided the toxic area began re-establishing habitats around the purified water sources. This biodiversity recovery created a more resilient ecosystem that could better support human activities while maintaining natural balance. The restoration was holistic, affecting every level of life from microscopic organisms to large mammals. Perhaps most significantly, the miracle established Jericho as a center of divine activity, attracting pilgrims, students, and seekers who wanted to witness the place where impossible became possible. The economic and cultural benefits of this spiritual tourism supported the community for centuries, demonstrating how environmental restoration can have profound and lasting social impacts. Today, as environmental scientists are rediscovering principles that ancient peoples understood intuitively, that true restoration requires interventions that work with natural systems rather than against them. The Jericho water purification offers a blueprint for modern environmental remediation that combines spiritual wisdom with practical application in ways that challenge our compartmentalized thinking. Contemporary water treatment facilities, increasingly recognize that sustainable purification requires understanding the interconnected relationships between chemistry, biology, geology, and even social factors. The most successful modern projects mirror Elisha's approach. They identify root causes, apply targeted interventions, and create conditions for long-term self-sustaining improvement rather than merely treating symptoms. Biomimicry researchers study how natural systems purify water, discovering that the most effective methods often involve simple materials applied with precise timing and placement. Salt-based purification systems, constructed wetlands, and mineral precipitation techniques all echo the principles demonstrated at Jericho thousands of years ago. The difference is that we now understand the mechanisms behind what ancient peoples experienced as miraculous intervention. Climate change and global water scarcity make these lessons increasingly relevant. Communities worldwide face contaminated water sources that threaten survival, just as ancient Jericho did. The integration of spiritual wisdom with environmental science offers hope for solutions that address not just technical problems, but the deeper cultural and spiritual dimensions of environmental crisis. The Jericho miracle suggests that the most powerful interventions occur when human faith aligns with divine wisdom working through natural laws. This partnership between heaven and earth, between spiritual authority and physical reality, may be essential for addressing the environmental challenges of our time. Modern technology amplifies ancient wisdom rather than replacing it. The purification of Jericho's waters ultimately reveals something profound about the relationship between divine intervention and natural law. They are not opposites in conflict, but partners in a cosmic dance that transcends our limited understanding of what is possible. This miracle demonstrates that God works through creation rather than despite it, using natural processes in ways that reveal their hidden potential. The enduring mystery is not whether the purification was natural or supernatural, but how these categories themselves may be artificial constructs that prevent us from seeing the deeper unity underlying all reality. When Elisha cast salt into poisoned waters, was he performing chemistry or miracle? The answer may be that this distinction itself misses the point. He was participating in a reality where divine wisdom and natural law are revealed as different aspects of the same fundamental truth. This has profound implications for how we approach environmental restoration, scientific research, and spiritual practice. Rather than seeing these as separate domains, the Jericho miracle invites us to consider how they might be integrated aspects of a more complete understanding of reality. The most profound environmental solutions may require not just technical expertise, but also spiritual wisdom that recognizes the sacred dimension of natural systems. The waters of Jericho remain pure to this day, a living testament to an intervention that transcended the boundaries between heaven and earth, between possible and impossible. They remind us that creation itself contains hidden potentials waiting to be activated by the right combination of wisdom, faith, and understanding. Perhaps the greatest lesson is that we still have much to learn about the true nature of reality, and that the apparent impossibility of something may simply reveal the limitations of our current understanding rather than the boundaries of what is actually possible. The sweet waters of Jericho continue to flow, carrying with them a question that bridges millennia. What becomes possible when divine wisdom meets human need through the hidden laws of nature? As we face our own impossible challenges, perhaps the answer lies not in choosing between faith and science, but in discovering how they dance together in the mystery of creation itself.